Imagine living in a home that was built in a fraction of the time it takes to construct a traditional house. A home that is not only cost-effective, but also environmentally friendly. Welcome to the future of housing. Hi, I'm Nick Coble. Join Chris Forsyth and myself as we'll be talking with the brilliant minds behind this project. Joining us are Danny Little, who's locally spearheading the project, and Nate Schluter with Eden Village, the builder who turned digital blueprints into a reality.
This is Nate Schluter, and he's the executive director of Eden Village, and he can explain you a little bit about Eden Village and how they got into this. And
do you guys know what Eden Village is?
He gave us a short breakdown just a little bit ago. But
neighborhoods for people that are chronically homeless, gated tiny home communities. So our homes are about the size of one of these units. So this is an Eden Village duplex that'll be on our next property in Springfield. So we're kind of out here testing it out, building it for Danny and the church. Just kind of a spec, 400 square foot, a little more units.
Sure. Okay.
Yeah, so really trying to address affordable housing because it's really not affordable for our kids to be first-time home buyers. And if you're in absolute poverty at the lowest level, like people that are homeless, they might get a check every month for disability or some smaller social security payments. But if you're earning or getting $600 to $1,000 a month, affordable housing does nothing for you. So we needed to come up with units that we could affordably build so that we could affordably rent out to somebody living on that kind of income.
Right.
So at Eden Village in Springfield, they pay $325 a month, utilities included, no deposit. And they're off the streets, they can live there permanently. It's fully furnished and everything's all in $325. So we needed, after COVID, we were ordering them pre-manufactured type of units, and so after COVID we needed to create something more affordable because those units drastically increased in cost, and so the goal here is to be able to build an F5 structure certified at $100 a square foot, new construction, all in, roof, cabinetry, everything.
Yeah. Okay.
So that's what this test is. Can we figure, if this is, can we build this for, $80,000 to $90,000?
Right.
this entire structure here?
The duplex.
Okay.
Yeah. 2 units. So that would put us at $40,000 for a single unit.
Mm-hmm.
So that's how we got into the 3D printing. Outside of the initial millions of dollars you invest in the printers and the engineering and stuff like that, we can also address homelessness and poverty more rapidly because we'll print this house in about 35 hours of actual print time. Okay. It took us 4 days to set it up. It'll take us 2 days to tear it down. And it may take us longer. I'm just talking about the printer moving 35 hours, right? It may take us a week and a half because you got to clean up, you got to prime the pump and everything in the morning. But at the end of the day, if you can reduce your man hours, this will eliminate about 7 trades: your insulator, your sheetrock guy, your vinyl siding guy, and stuff like that.
Electrical will already be pretty much roughed in.
It's roughed in, because you can rough it in. The electrician needs to come and run the wire.
Sure.
But we've still done a huge portion of his job for him. So yeah, if you want to be careful and not touch a wet wall and not trip, we can walk in here and show you. So this is kind of your living room, and then you've got your refrigerator, your hot water heater is a 19-gallon that sits in the corner, and a corner sink, and then you've got a TV stand, your oven, and it rolls across. I think we have a full set of prints I can show you too.
Wow.
And then this will be the only framed wall. It's a stackable washer and dryer. So framed wall comes out here to the door, creates a laundry closet. and then this will be your bedroom door, and then this will be a two 24-inch pocket doors that slide together for the bathroom door, and you have a shower, toilet, vanity. So this will harden to 6,700 PSI, which is international building code for vertical construction is about 4,000.
Okay.
So it exceeds any kind of building code when it's hardened. And then there's rods. Obviously, there's Simpson ties. There'll be rods that come up to attach the top plate. We can use traditional trussing, and then we designed and sealed our own hurricane tornado straps to that trussing. And so the whole structure will then be an F5. The
Right.
walls have been tested for an F5, and then the trussing won't come off with the clips. So the only thing you will lose in an F5 is your shingles or metal roofing. So that's the
Yeah.
goal of this, is that, and then
So I assume you got like a like a rebar type setup or something that comes up that's threaded. Is that what that
right,
is?
so you have your 9-inch. We have one over there, but you have your you chalk out where it's going to be, and then every engineered distance you put a 9.5-inch Simpson tie and anchor it down into the slab. And then there's these metal rods. Once you get to the right height,
They'll go down and thread on.
thread
right?
those on, and then it's a double top plate
Yep.
that goes on, and then you tension that to whatever the engineer says.
And you put in a traditional.
Scissor truss, so we'll get a
okay.
cathedral ceiling and make
Yep.
the space feel bigger.
Yep. And the top plates themselves, is that traditional lumber? Or are you using more of an LVL?
I mean,
or?
you never want traditional lumber that's not treated
Correct.
up against concrete.
Right.
So, like the windows, they'll get a top plate. At some point, the machine will spin at 88 inches. It'll spin around, and we'll know to put our window top plate in, because we're working on, our floor is 6 inches higher than what we think it is. And then we'll put treated wood down here so that we have a nailer for our window boxes.
Gotcha.
And we'll tap on the treated wood in here, which will then get a 1x6 trim.
Right.
So everything works out on
So
the,
that way the windows will attach
Yeah.
more like a traditional built home, right?
yeah. And then on the top plate, you have to put the roll of foam down and untreated, because treated wood has shrinkage, and you don't want your top plate to shrink if that's what's carrying your trussing for that file. And so it's untreated on the top plate, but you lay the foam down to protect it
Correct.
against the concrete.
The walls are filled with close-up foam.
Yeah.
Closed
Gives you
cell.
a little
Yep.
more strength on the rods also.
Yep.
You can gain 25 PSI per inch.
Yeah. And so what's the R value you think of the walls?
The R value on closed cell foam is it 7 per inch? I think it's 7. Yeah, R 7.5
Per inch.
and you're running a 3.5, 4-inch wall.
Right.
Concrete technically doesn't have any measured R value.
Right.
So yeah,
Gotcha.
so you're still
Okay.
exceeding.
And the texture of the walls is the finished product, correct?
Yeah.
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 If you wanted to, you could use a different kind of print.
Yeah,
That
so-
was that
See how
didn't
it's-
have so much to
See
it,
how
and
it's
you could-
going up and down?
Yes.
We
Yeah.
can change that
Yeah.
without changing the drawing. So we can make the same house look probably 12 different ways. We could change it to a square nozzle, which would make it look different. And we can make it wave where it always goes up at the same point and always goes down at the same point.
Yeah.
And then, or this is 180 degrees, so it goes down, the next pass, it goes up.
Yep.
See, it's squished down, now it goes
Yep.
up, next one will squish down, which gives it a basket weave type of look.
But
Yeah.
you can,
Or we could just print straight. Yeah.
Or you can,
Or we
you
could
know,
trowel this all
trowel this
and
and-
flatten it. But our view on it is, if we were building a log cabin, why would we put vinyl siding and sheetrock on it?
Right. Right.
And so,
and the concept behind these is to make these two units affordable for elderly housing. Like, this all got donated to the church, and the church will do a nominal rent, like $300 a month, just to cover, you know, ongoing maintenance. And,
Sure.
and
Ongoing maintenance, taxes, yeah,
upkeep,
all that
so-
good stuff. Sure.
And
And so as far as the concrete itself, I mean, is this just run-of-the-mill concrete you're going to get from the truck?
So you can't pump aggregate gravel through that 1.5-inch
Okay.
diameter hose.
Right.
So, so you're having to alter your mix to get it stronger than mortar, but still to be essentially coming out like mortar. So
Right.
you've got more sand than you would on mortar. And you got a lot of lime, and then we're blowing fiber through,
Right.
which gives us about 6,700. You know.
Right.
Most of them will run 3,300, which will still get you a vertical house. As long
Sure.
as you're not going 2 stories, you're still good.
Yep.
But I don't know if they get you an F5.
Right. And so you guys hand mixing all this to go in then? Yep.
Or today. So
How hard's clean out when you shut down today?
how hard? I mean, we have power washers. So they 30 minutes.
Just flush the hose good. And,
Yeah, flush the hose, run a pig through it, a little orange foam ball.
yeah. Yep.
kind of cool, isn't it?
Yeah.
Did you show them how you patch the cracks as you go?
Any little hairline cracks or anything like that, they don't penetrate. They don't go all the way through, but you're still going to see them if you paint them.
Mm-hmm.
And so, because at some point the fiber bonds them.
Right.
And so we did a hurricane water horizontal test with cracked walls and then with sealed walls and thermal cameras inside, and then thermal cameras here to see if it go inside, if it went in the cavity, anything. It never went through anything.
Mm-hmm.
Even around the windows, we just flashed them like you would normal windows. And
Yeah.
we were good to go.
Yeah.
But we're gonna paint it, and we paint with a high gloss paint, so that it always looks, it gives like the cool illusion that it's wet all
Right.
the time. This concrete stucco patch, and we get it a little wetter than usual. You just brush it in, and then you just spray the wall down to get the excess off.
Right.
And it'll paint and prime smooth. So we have to prime it with a concrete primer, and then you paint it. And then your paint will be good for about 50 years.
50?
Yeah, it's a 50-year Sherwin-Williams concrete paint, high
Yeah.
gloss. If you prime it with their primer, the Loxon primer.
Sure.
Yeah. We can slice their drawing. So we can only print something that you could trace your finger around all walls and not lift your finger, just like a 3D printer.
Right.
So this is just Mach 4. It's if you have a hobby 3D printer, you're running it's running the same software as a hobby 3D printer.
Okay.
And so as long as you can slice it into rows like that, then it'll print. And
Yeah.
so at some point, our drawing will turn on itself, and so we're building supports in as we go so that it can turn on itself, and then it'll just go straight across for the doors. So where we walked in those doors, all we have to do is lay a header, and then it's going to print straight across them for the rest of the pipe.
Gotcha.
And so,
So you're not framing in any of that either. It's just the one wall on the
I'll
inside,
have
really.
my door frame or some plywood, and then my door frame
Yep.
into that curved wall.
Yeah.
So the bathrooms will be curved and pocket door sliding, so you'll get that cool curve feel.
Yeah.
And then the windows we have to cut out because we can't make it turn too many times.
Sure.
Well, you do it on your doors, but if it turned around on these windows, it would send you back to the door. And so how would you get it to the back? So these we have to cut out every 2 or 3 layers. We have to score it on both sides.
Yeah.
And then this is an egress window, so you'll just be able to step out. All of our header heights are the same, so when we see that machine turn on the 88th pass, then we'll know to get that. We'll start going. We got to put these steel headers in, and then it'll print over the top of the headers, and we're done. But all that, I mean, they sell you a machine that will slice the drawing, so you got to figure out your headers, your rods. It's been like we've been at the university in a warehouse for a year and a half, engineering and testing, and because there's no building code for 3D printing, so everything has to be sealed by an engineer.
Right.
So then you'll just tap this with a hammer, it'll pop out, and it is, then you put your 2x4s in your box window in. And then because of your margin of error, you pretty much trim the inside and the outside around the windows and doors with the 1x6, you know.
Sure.
So it gives you enough room for somebody not to be perfectly straight and still be able to get a tap on it. So we typically use PVC trim on it, just because that's going to